right, we are back with another Armfighter report. It is September 27th, 2023, and the eyes are all on Artem Taranenko tonight. What's up, Artem?
What happened in player? I was expecting there's going to be a couple of us here so I can start as a joke how I've noticed that every time I'm on Zoom, I happen to be like the best looking person every time I look at the squares. But because it's me and you, I can't say this shit. But
Oh, you still are, man. You still are.
no. It's me and you. We're both rocking kind of a, well, I mean, you're both natural. I have to fake it to your level to shave my head usually, but I keep the beard, you know what I mean? So
It's kind of shaved.
I'm trying to be like you, Bill. You know, I have to keep it up.
You sound good, that's for sure.
Got him. Got him.
So you have before we even get into this event, I gotta ask, how serious are you taking it?
Oh, good question. Just thought about it too, because I mean, I have 50 things lined up like afterwards, right? So every event I'm looking at, I'm looking at the event like after all the time because just kind of how the things work out. And originally I hadn't taken that super seriously because I thought, as usual, I thought this part of the year will be super busy, which it is. And whenever Lorraine messaged me originally, I was like, you can put my face in the flyer, but I'm not coming, most likely. And but then at some point he kind of realized like that's not a reply, right? He's like, my man, either coming or like can we replace you? Because like the shit's not getting serious, you know what I mean? Like the spots we're taking and all this stuff. So I told him, yeah, yeah, I'll be there, like 100%. So taking it seriously, as I said, like I have events lined up before and after, so like I always peak for something. I don't have like this like 3 months off getting ready for one thing. So I'm always kind of in shape. And but for this wanted to change it up. So as soon as I just came back from West Virginia, like have not got to write it out, but I must do like 2 to 3 workouts a day for the next 4 to 5 weeks, whatever time left. So I'm doing it right now, like naturally, but I need to write it down or I'm not gonna do it. So, but past 2 days, as soon as I've been home, I've been rocking 2 workouts.
So no events, no big anything scheduled until then from now.
Yeah, so right now that's the only thing. I may arm wrestle this Saturday at local Florida thing because tournament is happening, and I'm just really coming to visit. But I really gonna get enough beating for the past like 2 weeks, so I feel like I can get some more getting ripped open or getting at the right angles. I do enjoy those tournaments sometimes just to get the momentums and emotions out. So, but it's nothing serious. So October 21st will be. It's the date. It's the date.
You'll be ready to go.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for
So
sure.
you're constantly beating yourself up though. So I mean, you are very active, right? You're very active all the time. You're always pulling at any weight it seems. So do you think that helps with your stamina going into this?
For sure. If I were to talk about like put me in a ideal format, it'd probably be like a triple elimination tournament. Well, I mean double is fine, right? But I feel like ideal, give me a triple. I don't know about round robin, but if nowadays, I mean, so what I do stylistically, round robin is my thing, 100%. It's just round robin with 12 fucking crazy just to the gills motherfuckers. It's a little too much. But as far as the format and everything works out, yeah, that's definitely something I like for sure. Like you put me in a super match against somebody that just as strong or stronger than me, and I look like absolute bum. But you give me that guy and a couple other dudes all in the same tournament, I'll dance around the motherfucker to all of a sudden, like, hey, back to the finals, back to the finals.
So you like the round robin structure?
Yes, yes. As much as the idea of round robin is good and bad at the same time, right? It's good because it always looks insane. It's bad because the person that's wants that round robin the most is the most arrogant person, and everybody is in it supposed to be like that because I mean, if you're not ahead, if you hold ahead stronger than the entire competition, there's no way you should say that you're gonna win this shit because it's so insane, right? But everybody comment to round robin all the time, thinking the same thing. Whatever, whatever. And then that's why they really never. I mean, some they work out, and sometimes they don't for that, maybe for that person. So yeah.
All right, so you are how much? 195 right now? Are you heavy? What are you doing?
Yeah, just was waiting to a sixth on a Saturday. As soon as I came home, did my little fast because like I know whenever I do a good like 24, 48 hour fasting, like it drops down for me weight wise. Like I lose a good amount of fat, water, and it stays like away from me for quite some time. So drop to 194.6. So I get like 6 pounds to play with all the way until then. So yeah, I'll be right in time. I'm not that dude. I'm 154 guy. So there's not like I'm walking around 220 cut into 98, right? Like no, like most of the dudes actually like there's half dudes that probably like me, and some of them probably nowadays even do sit a little higher, but no, I'll be floating around that weight. At this point, I am afraid I'll be like 2-1, 2-2, but it's a quick weight cut. Like
So you
before
are kind
they
of heavy right now for you, right?
For me, yes, I have never walked around that comfortably at 200 pounds and where I can skip as many meals as I do right now and still step on the scale and it will be 201. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not at the heaviest I've ever been, but I'm at the heaviest I've ever been for the time being, like to where my body is actually accepting it, right?
Are you still left dominant?
I have never been left dominant, Bill. I've always been right hand dominant. It just all of you schmucks don't want to trade left and right hand. So all of a sudden, my weak ass left arm that I trade for less time than my right arm looks better.
And caught up? So you think the right is you are right dominant. You think your right's better than your left.
No, I think they are absolutely the same. Because when I go to the gym, nothing happening different. Like there's never it just they have different strengths, right? I have right hand. I don't have left hand whatsoever, right? But my left bicep, with that being said, is a little bit better, but side pressure, hand, everything connects better in the right hand. Left hand, I'm like everybody. I'm a little not coordinated.
Who are you most worried about in this tournament or round robin event?
Stylistically, the only person I don't like build wise is probably like the person who's beat me before, probably Jason Merlot. Just stylistically, right? Because but I've seen him get beat now, like in past year by Eduardo, right? So kind of seeing it being done. And last time we arm wrestled was a long time ago. So I'm not really like concerned about him power wise, but his build is not changing, so it's still gonna be uncomfortable. So I have to make sure I pick a proper route. So um probably that's it.
Just Merlot.
Right, he's the only one that I deem to be a little bit uncomfortable in the setup. Everybody else seems to be my height or shorter, and yeah, and I mean, there's going to be different hands, but Jason's hand is not thick, so that's going to be okay. But it's the height and the style that he chooses that seems like fuck a lot of people up. So people don't really, I feel like, consider him as like the guy, but I don't know. I feel like stylistically, people don't realize how many people he'll top roll the fuck out of just because of how he built and what he does. So yeah, he's probably the only one. I mean, of course, I feel like I don't know why I'm making Bob Brown, but like, man, that can be sketchy. But I don't think my style really like stylistically. I'm not worried about Bob Brown, but I guess the longer we wait until we meet, the more I'm concerned.
So
I'm
have
just
you
before we go, I'm just in such a beautiful spot because I am pulling Craig first match, right? And I feel like he is the only person in a round robin to beat. Everybody's there to beat, but ranking wise, like you want Craig's spot, right? And you kind of want him fresh. So I mean, I really want him like a second round, and you give me like a weak round, but fresh main Craig. That's kind of what I mean. That's what I will be looking for. So that's kind of exciting for sure.
Do you have history with most of these guys?
No, like half of them I don't think have arm wrestled. Like Craig has always been the man like 95. I've always been like a schmuck at 65. And whenever I look at 98, I'm like, God forbid I ever have to arm wrestle Craig too yet. Jason Marlowe, we had a super match and he beat me both hands. He beat me left-handed super match and right-handed. I just made to him in the tournament and he still beat me too. Um, Robbie Russell pulled the. I think me and Robbie will have the longest history because me and Robbie Russell have pulled a bunch of times at our 165 days, like 76, 98. And the only good thing I can say that last year out of like four of our outings, I've done whooped Robbie Russell, so it was a great time. And yeah, who else is in? I feel like that's. I need to go back look at the thing because it's right here actually. Um,
You get Robbie in the last match.
That's awesome. Uh, yeah, never pulled Dallas right-handed. Never pulled Adam right-handed in the tournament. Neither did Quinlan, Eli, Bob. Just beat Chad, and he beat me before, so we have a little bit. Craig, Steven, Eduardo also never arm wrestled them on the tournament right-handed. Neither. I mean, yeah. So yeah, like right-handed, I fairly like me and Adam Rosinski gripped up a couple times after pulling, but have never actually pulled. So yeah, just me and Robert Russell, and gladly he's the last one.
Do you think with the after pulling at your level, because a lot of guys that are gonna pull, or know that they're gonna meet up with you in a tournament, they maybe don't want to pull on the side table. Do you get that a lot, or maybe they don't want to actually match up with you or give you anything because they're not trying to, let you into their head at all?
I feel like no, like not with me. I don't see that. Like, I mean, like, dude, me and Paul Lynn just gripped up left-handed. I mean, we're supposed to pull in December, so it's normally. Yeah, I feel like I sometimes maybe can sense it, but they'll still come to the table and arm wrestle. So yeah, not the. I can always sense some craziness, but have not really happened to me in the past couple months or years probably. Whenever I grip up with somebody like that's questionable because of the rankings you made that Bill, and everybody, oh man, you're ranked 1 and 3. I don't want to grip up as you, fucking Bill, gonna change this shit. So, but nah. If so far everything been good. I did hear the only weird and weak shit I heard the other day is somebody didn't want to pay $40 to compete at the event because I don't want to get smacked by Travis, and I'm like, right, only $40 to get smacked by Travis Bajan? Come on now. I just told him it was the weakest shit I ever heard. He's like, dude, you're gonna see Rick shit on the after poll. I'm like, dude, I pulled with you on the side table earlier. You are weak. So like, what are we doing? So yeah, the practice stuff that she's talking about. Nah. I feel like everybody kind of hungry nowadays and thirsty for all of this stuff. Especially probably being I feel like being who I am is kind of the opposite, right? Because I'm this like 165 dude that's all of a sudden become good at 98. So everybody be like, oh, Artem is fake. And I feel like everybody want to grip up as me and show that I'm not good. I think that's what mostly happens.
Yeah, but they kind of get the back end of that normally, right? I don't see many side table videos of you getting smashed.
Hmm. I don't know, man. I get smacked pretty often. I'm okay with losing on the after pullings and whatever. I mean, dude, I've learned about after pulling a little bit, like going to tournaments so many times. Like the key of after pulling, you have to be an asshole. Like the way I pull at the tournament, the way I after pull is two different things. I'm really nice at the tournament. Straight in your wrist, show me the knuckle. Referee says go, whatever. I go crazy. After pull, I'll make sure my fist is made, my elbow is there, because the key to the after pull for everybody to be like, oh, wow, is for you to just rape everybody and just beat everybody with the most disgust, and nobody really gonna ever say anything, but you're gonna look good. You're gonna look good. So I learned that years ago. So now kind of have to do it a lot less, but whenever it is matters and the camera is on, oh yeah, there's a whole different setup.
So does that hunger transfer into the event in the sense of like, do you think that anybody's going to use any kind of strategical laydowns to work their way through to get most wins, or do you think everybody's going to have that hunger that they're just going to go balls to the wall every match?
Great question. You kind of have to refer back to the list. I feel like Bob Brown will have an idea in his head to tell people that, but as I said earlier, Ron Robbins, the whole idea of that is everybody just arrogant and fucking angry. You want to prove something, so I'm probably one of the only person that may be willing to dance around because it does work out, but there's a lot of good names you do want to get a pin on too, right? So it's like really depends who you're trying, what you're trying to do, right? I feel like if me and Craig are pooling, and we in a war, like I'm in his first round, I'm committing everything, right? And then if I still have it for Adam, like I'm committing everything. And if I still have it for Eli and be in the thing eventually, I'll lay down to Eli because ain't nobody fucking know who Eli is, right? So and eventually I guess Dan's back, and hopefully that random laydown, because I bet you Eli will get everybody in a little hooky thing. And if you're a hooker, you're gonna commit to that thing. It's a long day. So yeah, I'm all about dancing around, even though it's not gonna look maybe as is. Because I like to commit to a first hit and lay down after that, right? My laydowns are not just I'm still gonna bet that my timing is so much better than yours. That doesn't matter how fucking blown up my biceps is and how pumped I am. I'm gonna attempt that relaxed hit, and if sometimes it goes right, you never know. Like that's why I like whenever a referee asks, "Hey, do you want to go to the straps?" No. Even if it's gonna go to the straps, it's a no because I'm gonna bet that this dude in front of me gonna do some mistake before that. I'm betting on the elbow foul. I'm betting on like some shit slip, right? So yeah, don't put the strap on. So yeah, I feel like I might dance around if I have to, but and it's a important thing because the way it's gonna get paid out, right? Because you kind of wanna save yourself to do collect a less amount of losses. So it's a good angle, and I feel like Bob Brown will be the guy to talk about it. And I don't know if anybody will listen, right? Because as I said, everybody is too arrogant. But I feel like I want Bob Brown in my corner on that one. I'm like, dude, we'll split the money. Just tell me who to lay down to. Oh, when?
Would you take his advice?
100%, 100%. I've heard Bob Brown say some cool shit about laying down before, and I feel like he gets it. He gets it. I despise Bob Brown's training methods and whatever he does. However, his tournament knowledge and wittiness is right there, right? Like he's the guy to talk to.
What if his entire plan is to just have everybody lay down correctly so that he can weasel his way to the top?
Nobody gonna listen to him but me. Everybody go like, Bob, you're crazy. I'm gonna smack you. So I'll be like, dude, I'm kind of feel like Bob already has the money, so he ain't doesn't care about the two G's, right? I'm the one that needs my rent needs to be paid. So so I'll listen to some shit. But yeah, to answer even better, I'll have to look at that bracket to see who I'm really pulling to. But again, it's that's what I want to say about the predict. You know how you guys like all right do the predictions per rounds, and then you got like this bets going on. Like somebody, I want to make sure somebody have common sense because this shit is 4 to 5 weeks out. That's a normal
Not
amount.
even.
Oh no, god damn! All right, I need to get training. I need to do 3 trainings today. So that's an enormous amount of steroids one can do, and you cannot account for that. So that's 21st thing. I don't know how everybody does those predictions and bets confidently, right? Unless like So I don't know. Lots of shit gonna happen. Lots of shit gonna happen. So that's why even predicting right now who to lay down to might not work out. And they don't
No,
want to. Yeah.
it worries me that people will do it, trying to be strategic, and to me, it's going to mess up the entire thing because you might be hoping for that war, and then, or even just wanting to see the match, right? And then they just lay down, and
I
it's not even.
understand. Well, the shit's even weirder nowadays too. Like there's guys like I've seen Eduardo and Dallas pulled a super match, then commit to a tournament. But like when Eduardo got that first loss, he pulled out the tournament. So there's a lot of people nowadays. It seem like once they kind of had enough of that beating, they okay with pulling out. So yeah, there's can be a lot of that happen too. Laying downs, pulling outs once you just can't do it anymore. Um, I don't think, as I said, everybody's too arrogant to lay down as many times as you think it's gonna happen. Hold on. You interview a bunch of people. Like, have everybody said they're gonna lay down?
No, actually, it seemed like you're right. Bob Brown was probably the only one that really seemed to consider it the most.
Oh, really? I don't even listen to none of those. Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice. So smart. Oh, so
but
fun.
that's what had me worried is, if it started to happen, how does that affect the bracket? I just want to see all the matches, right? Regardless if they're tired or not. Um, you
Yeah, but
mentioned
you have to realize those rounds only matters for the first 5 rounds. I feel like anything after, you just look at some horse shit, right? Because I feel like we all just have, with the level, I feel like we all might have this 5 to 6 good matches wars wise. And then after that, you're looking at some weird meat grinders. And I feel like we will be lucky if we have some hot match by round 6 or 7 is actually as hot as you think it should be.
so is that just because of the caliber of people that are in it? Because you've been to a lot of events and you've pulled multiple classes at those events. So if you're in a couple big brackets and you do say two or three different classes, you could easily be doing that 11, 12, 13,
it
14
it's
matches, right?
very different with the caliber. Once you get, God forbid, you have one dude that's just as strong as you, that puts you out. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to walk to three classes to where like you mostly beating everybody, and you take an easy loss, went to B side, beat a couple more people. Even if the first guy is way ahead of you, he smacks you, right? And you're not really taking much damage. You continue on, or you stronger than everybody, so you beating them, right? And reading, even in the wars, sometimes doesn't take as much as getting ripped open, right? The pain is different, the fatigue is different. So even winning and climbing is okay. But once you get two dudes that are just as strong as you, well, one dude, right? And then you get two of them, yeah, three of them. Fuck, you keep adding and adding and adding. And if one gets to have those 4 to 5 rounds that like are pretty hard, yeah, that tank goes a lot faster. Like you've seen it just now with um Paul Talbot and Travis Bajan, right? Like how comfortable Paul looked in that like first like 10 second of the round getting all cupped in. But Travis being Travis, it's still a lot of fucking weight to try to cop and hold on the face to, right? And eventually you're fatiguing faster than you anticipated. And by round two, like you actually have way less than you anticipated too. So yes, I believe a lot of that will happen, and it's all matters due to the caliber. Because I mean, I've been there. Like I just know because like I've our wrestled with like Todd Hutchings back to back so many times, and even though it's like just 5 6 rounds, left and right hand separated, like dude, that third round, like you breathing really really hard. If the first two you actually went at it, so yeah, the caliber and being in the same power level matters a lot. It will change a lot of things, I guess you can say.
Well, your style helps too, right? I mean, you would think in the round robin that the top rollers, I mean, has to have the advantage, right? I mean,
Sure, for sure.
undoubtedly.
You get two hookers in there, and God forbid one of them gets sticky. Like it's a long day.
And there's a lot of hookers in the bracket, right?
There's a lot of dudes that are willing just to come inside and bang, right? Eduardo, Adam, Eli, I feel like is the guy too. Um, I mean, Robbie will bang inside. Craig will go inside. Quinlan will go inside. Yeah, there's majority. Yeah, they are inside dudes, except for really like Steven will go to the straps. Jason will try the top roll. Craig will finagle the top roll in the first one before the slip, and yeah, Robbie goes like sideways inside. So yeah. Like as far as efficiency, top rollers here will prevail for sure. If you're a hooker, you're not doing this shit unless you like disgustingly stronger hooker than everyone, and you just fucking blah, 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 the whole fucking day like a chainsaw. Then I can see what's gonna happen. But yeah,
So, do you think Toulier can keep his elbow on the pad throughout the event and finish top three?
That's my favorite joke, but I've seen Craig keep it up for a long time.
But it's 11 tough matches where you have
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
in grinders. So it's not just a joke at that point. It's almost like statistically, do you think he could get through 11 grinder matches and not elbow foul out?
Well, his elbow fouls, the first, right? Like it's the Louisiana Hap is a drag down, so he will foul against Jason Merlot 100%. Let's hey, all right, hey, man, that's so good. Fuck all of your bets and all this about who wins who. I'm betting $10 right now. Jason Merlot, Craig Touye. If they happen to meet with like someone close enough power, um, Craig elbow fouls. I'm betting $10 right now. That's the only bet I'm confident in.
We need some more prop bets like that, right? For the,
And
I
but
mean,
yeah, see,
there's some other guys with the long arms. I know Robbie said he didn't have a long arm, but I feel like he does. I think you could set him up the same way. The way you set up, I think, is going to cause a lot of people trouble. Uh,
I
can your
can't.
hand hold up? Who's gonna turn you in? Is there anybody in here that you're worried you're not just gonna crack their hand open?
Ooh, cracking that hand at that level is a lot. I feel like we're gonna maintain flat hand the whole time. I mean, we'll see if Craig's hand cracks back. I know it is crackable nowadays, but can it happen? That's the question, right? So he's a
He looked
potential.
really strong recently, so
I don't know. Like I just like what Sutan did to him top roll wise. Sutan really got him nice and open, so I like that. Um. Well, yeah. I guess. I mean, everybody is a kind of a nice hooker here, so I'm excited to see if. I'm excited to pull Adam in that sense, right? I know Craig most likely will not turn me inside the way he pulls. He'll just probably smack me sideways, and I'll remain the pronation. But I do believe, I feel like Adam only goes right there inside. So I want to see how that one plans out. Everybody else, like Robbie will always turn me in, but he'll turn me in by the time he's getting pinned normally. So I don't really care. Like it's a late hook. But Adam
you
gets
got
there
Robbie
pretty.
in the last round though. He's gonna have to
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
up to that too. So
Right, right. That's another thing. What? Yeah, me and Robbie pulling the last round is probably pretty terrible. If you're gonna go to the same dudes. I feel like yeah, at that point, the later I feel like Toproll and Hooker mitts, and Toproll has a little bit more. It's a wrap.
all right, here's a prop bet for you. Who's the first one to use the "I would have got you if I wasn't tired" excuse?
I think it's
Because
a
you know
wrap.
it's coming, right? You know it's coming multiple times.
I feel like Bob Brown gonna say that shit.
That's going to be the first one, Bob Brown. He should be the last one to get tired with that style, right?
Right, right, right. But I feel like Bob Brown gonna say something else. Bob Brown gonna be like, "I will have gotten you if you were more tired."
Oh,
I
if
feel,
you were tired.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I feel like that's Bob saying. And I feel like he will say something like that. Other than that,
That's when you say I would be more tired if you didn't tell me to lay down, Bob.
right, right, exactly. I think it depends who's pulling who, right? I feel like I will say this shit if I'm tired and Adam Brzezinski and I don't know, Quinlan and Steven and Jason beat me in the later rounds, but yeah, no, I feel like it all
Who's the
depends.
Who's the new guy? Casey? Do you know who that is? Casey Cooley, I think. Coley.
They added Casey Coley as a 98er.
Yeah, is he heavier than that?
Well, no, 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 no. He is. He just Casey Cole is known for being like a super dude who used to beat Mike Aiello, right? And then he did drop down slowly to, I believe it was 205 and 98. He did. I mean, I just don't know what he works around at, but he eventually got down to 98. Him and Adam Rosinski had a super match in Pool of the Mountains in Georgia. So that's how I know like Casey like at that weight, which is like surprising a thing. And That day that I pulled him Casey that day too, and I beat him left-handed. But he's a good dude. Yeah, he used to cause a lot of damage in that like 242s, I believe, and supers like so. I'm not really like I feel like he was very active like as I came in, so I'm not kind of missed a lot. But I did get to arm wrestle him, and he's a solid addition to the list for sure. I believe it was what we added because we get two people now, right? We added
No, I think that was just for Silvers. Silvers got
right.
injured.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Today, today we got the news that I pretty much we believe that Dallas is out too.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I think Dallas got an injury. I don't know if we were supposed to announce this or not or some shit, but it was in the chat that he's fucked. So I believe we need another replacement, and we had names right like Brian Fry. I believe was saying that he's gonna beat everybody in the list, so we sent him an invite. A couple people reached out to me. I just kept saying a screenshot to Robbie and Larry in a group chat. So even
Brian Fry's legit.
yeah, I mean I'll beat the fuck out of Brian Fry, but yeah, he's not bad either.
Well, you are Artem, right? I mean, you're the number 3 in the country, number 4 in the country.
That's the only reason I still love your rankings because I feel like you're treating me right-handed pretty fairly. I don't like in the hook where I'm like fucking 9 or some shit. I'm like, man, look what Bill did. He knows he can beat those dudes.
Yeah, that's the correct list, right?
Right, exactly. But if Chance gets me a little higher, then the correct word gonna bounce around. We got a little bias out here.
Well, if he goes higher, it's because you probably will go higher then, right? If you
I
deserve it.
got you.
Who's on top of that list?
Dude, the right-handed is terrible. Like everybody is on top of me. Left-handed, I'm like number 2 or 3 right now, right? After losing to David. I don't know if they put Fresh in there automatically, just like you did. But yeah, I'm like second there, and I feel like right-handed, I am like number 9. Let's see. I was under Robbie Russell for forever, even though I've beaten him a couple times, but they were like never really registered. So now I think I'm finally above him. But yeah, that ranking is nothing to be proud of. Where's this there?
How sauced up
Um,
on stem cells are you going to be before this event?
are we talking Travis Bayesian stem cells?
Whatever it is, isn't it? What is it? Vitacell or something?
Oh no. Stem cells are stem cells, but on
Yeah.
our podcast we refer to stem cells as basically steroids and everything
Oh,
else. So it's like we had kind of have this 50-50 joke. So like, are you talking about real stem cells or like Travis Bayesian stem cells?
hey, either or, man. I don't know. However you got
Well,
to
I mean,
roll.
everybody gonna be on Travis Bayesian stem cells, but I did got 2 units into my body like another day at the treatment facility. So I mean, everybody talking about stem cell right now like they are like the number one PED when it's like they're just for like healing purposes and it recovers your body and a bunch of stuff. But there's a bunch of stuff that's um you can do with it to kind of help the process and shit to where like technically it does create a perfect synergy for like an absolute juiced up monster. But yeah, like people talk weirdly about stem cells nowadays. Like, hey, bro, like rich grannies used to do that just to treat cancer. Now y'all talking about like it's a fucking brand new like SARM or some shit. So, but yeah, I'm stemmed up. So yeah, I'm number 8 in 98 right-handed. I mean, it's a solid thing above me. David again, who I lost to, Eduardo, Brand Rackers, Anna Rosinski, Dan Mosier, Craig Tuyi, Brennan Cesar.
So that's normal. All right. So the stem cells they help you heal. Is it working for you?
Um, so let's just talk about Vital Soul story, like with me, right? Back in October, I got reached out by them to get me sponsored to one of my trips and get some treatments too. And I'm like, man, I'm good in the treatment. I feel like I'm totally fine, but I'll take the cash. So that's what I did. Made fun of me for the whole. They're like the guys are making fun of me for not taking the treatment, but nowadays that I got to get it, I'm still in the same route to where like there's really nothing wrong with me. However, I mean, I talked to Dr. Mark and Dr. Mark explained to me in person, like, it doesn't really matter. It will help your longevity because you do have, as an arm wrestler, there's no way there's something not wrong with you. So it's going to help you longevity wise if you can take care of it right now. I'm like, I'm all about it. All about it, Dr. Mark. Shoot me up right here in the parking lot. So, with that being said, now that I got to get to Vitacell facility down here, um, had a choice, and kind of Devin suggested to go for wrist and elbows. And I'm like, well, my left wrist is, like, there's something wrong with it to where I don't have much range of motion, a lot of stuff. So, whatever. But when I arm wrestle, my problem is my right shoulder. Like, I do feel it over here all the time, and the left one sometimes too. So that's why I went for the shoulder. And just as a general, Dr. Mark gave me an IV too. So, like, basically one goes directly in the spot, and if it's an IV, it just goes throughout your whole body. So just kind of helping you out, I guess, in overall. So that's what I did. And as far as help, so your question was as far as helping recovery. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing really, really wrong with me to where, like, I mean, I have to see more if my training gonna change significantly. Like, because who knows, maybe I had something that, like, maybe bothered me to where the stem cells all of a sudden are gonna make me, do some stuff like really cool not, just because maybe I didn't know like how bad my shit was, right? Because they did a lot of stuff there, not just stem cell. We got all adjusted, like they put us through different machines and electromagnetic fucking things to where like we all overly healed up from from a lot of things. So I feel like the more I'm gonna work out in the next maybe 2-3 weeks, I'm gonna be able to tell if I don't know, like if something feels a lot better. Because I guess I'm proud to say I always feel good.
You
So
can't tell.
I can't fucking tell, man. I always feel like a beast. Look at this motherfucker. I came back. You ever seen somebody at 194 pounds looking like this? Come on, Bill. You can see I'm all stem celled up.
All right, so when they're giving you the stem cells, are they also giving you all that other shit too? Like the whatever you were talking about, the lights and the electric and all that
Not
shit?
all at the same time, right? It was pretty cool. So it's first we all were gotten some type of like loosen up treatment first, like we've seen Dr. Paul, who was doing like kinesiology stuff, like adjusting us, like just putting shit together, looking at some spots that maybe have issues with, right? Kind of loosen everybody up. There was a couple like cool chairs that will heal you with this like I don't know bunch of, as I said, electromagnetic shit. And then we had this lady, man, I wish I remember the name of the thing that she was using, but it kind of feels like, ever felt the tense unit?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So not the same setup. It's more like a wand with like electric stick in the end that she just kind of loops your arm. Well, whatever. For me, it was the arm, and the thing just goes and beats you with electric shock to your arm. All you hear outside of the room was because it just keeps kicking you. And this felt like an intense tense unit. Not as far as the contraction goes, but like that electric shock.
Hmm.
Oh my god, it goes through your arm like all the way through the bone. And she's like, "What's your problem?" And I'm like, "Well, the real problem probably with the elbow." So she goes in there and like, man, I can feel the shit. Like it's a good feeling. Like you kind of just do my other arm, and she was fine. She like, do you feel it? I'm like, yeah. All right, I'll turn it up. Okay. He goes, I can feel it. She's like, can you feel it? I'm like, oh yeah. All right, I'll turn it up. What do I have to tell you for you to stop turning this shit up? Okay, I feel like you're playing the wrong game here. So so yeah, we did that, and I feel like, and whatever, somebody got to go at some point. You can go to the a red light bed and get in there. That also does a lot of stuff to you. So there's a lot of different things, and because there's so many people you can treat it, and you kind of just switch around. If you done this, and then you get to the room to get treated, and talk about that stuff too. So if you brought like your wife or you happen to be a female arm wrestler like Sarah Backman, you also, well, actually every dude can go to. Me and Devin just refused. There was like a spa room to get a facial massages and all this stuff. So everybody got used to it except for me and Devin. Jody tries to get us in, but we're like, I'm like, yo, how long is the facial? Like 30 minutes. Me and Devin looked at each other. I'm like, yo, what can you do to your face for half an hour? We
Yeah.
fucking we bounced so quick. I'm like, yo, you want to go make a YouTube video? Yeah, let's go.
So it's very possible that stem cells aren't doing shit. They do so much different stuff to you to make you think that something's going on. That I mean, you're not seeing anything.
No, If we're talking about that subject, whether they work or not, sure. In my case, we can say like, yeah, you don't really know. However, there's so many different people with different most significant cases to where you can see something happening for sure. Like you cannot kind of deny it. I mean, you maybe can, but I mean, you kind of have to consider that those treatments as well. Like one of my best examples will be Devon Larratt, right? Who have a lot of shit wrong with him, but also has a lot of shit wrong with him to where he actually cannot go inside, right? We seen it from WL days. Devon slowly became this dude, right? And then the more he started getting stem cell treatment and keep doing his thing, Devon all of a sudden was here with Gennady. He was there with Sprudnik. He was there like that 2008 or whatever, like whatever that year Devon does that, right? And I got to talk to Devon about it too, and I'm like, dude, like, is it like like I feel like I like arm wrestling, but I don't feel like whenever I'm around true geeks, I feel like a little insecure. Like I know like Angus knows more than me. I know Devon knows more. So like I'm like, hey Devon, is it just me? Or I feel like you back to the inside thing when you didn't really have. And is it stem cells? And like he thinks yes, for sure. And that something made a significant difference because he was not able to do that. And when I do that sales pitch, all of a sudden like even Pablo, because Pablo was complaining about his shoulder for forever before our match, and I'm like, let me try to whoop on you, and we'll get you to Vitacell, baby. So the whooping didn't happen, but we got him to Vitacell, and his shoulders feels a lot better too. So, uh, so yeah, I feel like people that do have problems, and not even arm wrestlers, because like the guys that run the Vitacell facility, they showed us examples like of the friends and whatever who they got that got like in accidents and they got healed injuries and all this stuff. Dr. Mark has a good story too. Dr. Mark has a messed up wrist she doesn't tell many people about, and but it was so messed up to where the doctor was giving him like he got like two options, either to fuse it or to brace it. Which either one of those you'll lose range of motion, right? So he just told the doctor like, "I'm just stem cell the fuck out of it." So that took him forever. That took Dr. Mark, he said, a year, which normally that's what he said. Like the rehabilitation time for people with injuries can be different. Some people feel good right away. Some people take months, right? So he has like one of the worst cases to where, I mean, his wrist is healed now, which is cool if you consider other choice was to fucking fuse it. But now he's good. It just took forever. But man, there was other couple of good examples where I could mention, but also back to arm masters. So yeah, you do see. I mean, look at Bob Brown too. I feel like Bob was getting stem cells forever, and you can you always argue with Bob Brown case that just a case of just HRTs and TRTs with stem cell on top of it. But I feel like Bob is in his prime now, like or like in his new prime to where like I don't know. I would not consider Bob like a to be part of round robin thing in '98, like I don't know, a couple years ago. But now, like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck around, Bob gonna win this shit. So yeah, I could give like another good example. I feel like of somebody who's like can consider the stem cells did help, but just flew out of my head. But so yeah, the timeline is different for everybody. Oh, I did have the other people got treated by Vitacell who's had back pain. And the first thing the person said, because the first thing Dr. Mark will tell you, and everybody, whoever you get ejected from, that it takes time for you to feel difference, depends on the case. But most of the people that do have like constant state of inflammation and injuries, they get significant difference almost 24 hours. Like the person I'm talking about, like was able to sleep on all the sides. They were not able to sleep for like years. So there's some use. As I said, I feel like I'm just too healthy to where I might just have to see if I had some shit that was blocking me from doing some cool shit, or oh yeah, see how better I feel for the rest of the time. Like I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, it's not like I spent 20 grand on treatment or anything.
Right, and you're pretty young still too, right? Aren't you? What, late 20s?
Super late 20s, Bill. I almost hate to saying that. I feel like I'll be always 21. It's just hard to be an arm wrestler and having the age because it's so cool. Start arm wrestling young. I know Chance experienced that. I've been there. Like, oh man, he's so strong and he's only 19. Oh man, he's so strong. He's only 18. Man, he's so strong. He's only 20. But then somebody says this shit and you have to be like, yo, my man, I'm fucking 25. Oh man, I'm so sorry, man. You suck. So now I'll be like, yo, I'm actually fucking 28, man. Oh man, that's terrible.
So how old
See,
are you?
28, 28. So the
28.
last one. Yeah. I'm kind of excited. I'm 7 years away from when Todd Hutchings started arm wrestling.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I feel like I'm doing okay. Like you can do better, but like you that's one thing you should never do. Never compare yourself to other ages because it'll make you sad. Like bunch of the dudes now, the goats, like being like world champions in their 20s and 21s and stuff, or like some dudes starting arm wrestling close to their 30s and like, fuck. Well, I don't think I can be number one. You don't think about it just yet. Look at Todd Hutchings.
How do
Look
you
at
stay?
Tim. Look at
How do
Tim
you stay
Breast.
motivated? You've been at it a long time, right? So I mean, you've been arm wrestling at least a decade, right?
It's
I
been
mean, as
it's
long as I've been in it, you were in it. So
right. It's been 10 years plus some change, like with like all this like weird years in Russia of not competing, just training, right? So for sure, a decade. Um, dude, like I don't feel like I'm super like hot motivated all the time. It's more like became like just train. I mean, I love the thing, but I feel like a lot of arm wrestlers do go to the phases all the time. A couple times a year, we all go through like, man, fuck arm wrestling. I like, I hate the ill. It's always the community, some posts, some comments, some de-appreciation, whatever. Somebody's like, will say some out of pocket thing to where it's like, man, the community is just too wild to be part of. Um, and I go through that a lot too. And as Travis said, and I agree with it too. Like whenever you go to a tournament, and like, fuck, let's be honest, like there's a lot of part of arm wrestling trip that can be absolutely shitty. The tournaments are not always in a great location. Most of them are fucking long. The referee normally sucks. There's a lot of terrible things if you think about it. But overall, you go to a tournament and you see people. So just there seeing people, talking to everybody, just sharing the same stories you have been for years. Whenever you find you people and you can easily connect with, you can easily connect them on a Saturday. I feel like that's why you want to keep doing that. But as far as motivation, like yes, that's being part of the sport, but it's motivating and competing. That's what I guess Todd helped me with that, right? Not that I kind of was looking for inspiration, but whenever you do feel like arm wrestling sucky, you kind of have to go back to people that still do it and why they do it. Like, and John Brzenk is the best example, and Todd brings him up, so that's why I don't really bring John because of Todd's words, but Todd always said that, whenever he feels down, John explained to him that he's here for money, right? Like if it's not for money, then what are we doing here, right? It's really kind of a weird motivator in any other way, right? So that's kind of what you have to think about, and that sometimes just brings you back into whole motivated state. Not even like yes, nowadays we not often talk about the money, like the day off, but there's a lot of just potential money too. I think that now can be happen just with social media and all this shit. So that's why I feel like I don't know. It always pays out to be the top guy rather than not. So that's why like it's always good to push and it's always good to skip levels and all this cool stuff. But as far as staying motivated, the money must be your motivator because if you're not motivated by the money in arm wrestling, um, you're gonna catch yourself in losing a lot of feelings because expectations leads to disappointment. So
well,
that's something
in
important.
that instance, though, if you start having to go money wise, and money's the motivator, is that where we run into the issue where, okay, we're on social media, you're making money arm wrestling, and now arm wrestlers are boxing, and arm wrestlers are doing this and that because the money's really not in the arm wrestling. So they see, hey, well, at least now I have a name, I have some type of platform, so I'm going to venture outside of arm wrestling just to make the money, and it's not really benefiting arm wrestling at that point.
Well, that's no. Whatever you just said, it's the most best luxurious example that can ever happen to a person in an arm wrestling, right? If there's a person that can do what you just said and do get to boxing and get noticed, like I feel like it brings everybody back up. I feel like the motivation and money that I was speaking of is really when it's like go back think of John Brzenk. If there is no money in arm wrestling, John Blank is not arm wrestling. All of a sudden, John Blank's retired and his shoulder hurts. Whenever there's a good money back in arm wrestling, John is an arm wrestler. If whether it's a tournament or he gets an invite, right? John is not pulling for anything less than $10,000. So like, I'm only saying that because it's like pretty much an open number. So, uh, kind of get yourself up there. But yeah, I mean, there's ways to make money. Yeah, try to collab and go into other sports and do that. But I don't know. You made it sound like it's a weird thing. To me, it's like, I mean, Alexi did that to bring arm wrestler back up and go to bobsleigh and shit.
Well, I don't know if he just did bobsled, right? I don't know if he was like
He did
trans.
he did bobsleigh to popularize arm wrestling because he became world champion arm wrestler and nobody fucking knew about this shit. And then he was like, well, fuck, I could go kill it in bobsleigh. And in bobsleigh, he got that national recognition because it's a real sport and it's in Olympics and stuff. To where he got to promote himself as a former arm wrestling champion, and more people grab onto him as an arm wrestler because of the bobsleighing thing, right? So because you can argue that he's probably just as good of a bobsleigher he's an arm wrestler, right? He's kind of a, and yeah, he killed it at the Olympics, and he's like can consider like that part of the world of a goat of arm wrestling at some point, a legend, I guess, because we've been throwing a word goat around for fucking weeks now. So he's considered a legend, right, in both sports, and but his goal, and I mean not his goal, like his saying and what actually happened, like I agree, like the whole bobsleigh thing to bring arm wrestler back up, like yeah, it works. I mean, he got him in the government, like he has so much stuff, and he still is getting referred to as an arm wrestler. I was an ex arm wrestler, former. I don't know, his arms are still fucking jacked. So there's no way he goes around his day and there's not an arm wrestling conversation. And I think that's good for arm wrestling because he's now known because of the bobsleigh and politics and all that stuff. So yeah, whenever you're talking about venturing out to other directions and making money, like that's all benefits arm wrestling back because we do. I mean, arm wrestling is barely a fucking sport. What are we talking about?
Agreed. But I have seen people juggling and playing dodgeball at the same time on ESPN too. So I mean,
Right, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like having those arguments about how far arm wrestling is and what do we need to do, like they're always so weird. Like I wanna talk to a real expert, not a fucking Facebook gig that's been arm wrestling for a year. Like, dude, to bring arm wrestler to the masses, we need one, two, three. I'm like, well, yeah, and then you go back to Luke and like, dude, there's all types of sports and all types of I don't know outlets that you'll think arm wrestling should be at, but it's just not there. So and arm wrestling one of the easiest sport that everybody have done at some point, right? Like I heard like pickleball is like number one thing right now. I don't even know what the fuck it's consist of. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure I need some tools and shit that I don't have and equipment, but arm wrestling, I got those things right here. So yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong with the idea, or maybe somebody needs to put better amount of money. I don't know. I don't know, but it feels like we all have this bullshit ideas how to make it better. We'll get two, three extra entries on the fucking tournament, and if you made it, just think about it too. Another day, like me and Travis did the tournament this Saturday. Everybody happy as fuck. Everything was done in 2 hours. Arm wrestler got paid, got the fuck out of there. Whenever you get to 300, 400 entry tournaments, those are old. I mean, it looks cool on the internet. Everybody hates that tournament and the promoter that day, right? Because shit takes forever. So that's something to think about. We want to grow the sport, but we're rarely capable to host more than, I don't know, comparable 150 entries, like, right? The tournament wants to have 300. And nobody fucking have 300 entries fucking venue, seems like, or venue or staff. So, like, I don't know, like this whole growth of arm wrestling, if it does happen, like I hope promoters are like ready for that, right? Because how are you gonna run 500, 600 entries tournament and you averaged out like 100 normally, and you might lose your shit if you got 200.
well, I
But
think that's
everybody
where
wants.
pre-registration matters, right? If you're doing that 150 instead of 300, which makes it more friendly for time and all that shit, you could pick those 150 people would be ideal, right? You already know who's coming in. Those are the people that are in there. It's pre-registered. You're in. When it's you could come in at the door and anybody can come in at any time. Now you can get 300, 400. What they had 500 people at Michigan State, or Winter Blast had 600, I think. Um, yeah, what are you talking all day? Easy, right?
Dude, yeah, I didn't like. I wonder how long Winter Blast ran with that time, but I feel like they started pretty early too. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I thought about the other day. I'm like, dude, like I don't even. There's a couple events in the year, like Steve Pettis' Michigan State, like that does bring like 300, 400. I don't know what's the maximum amount of interest he got, but like, dude, that's a long day of arm wrestling, and I feel like I don't know, like you only have energy there for like 2, 3 hours, and then you're complaining. So I
Mm.
wonder, like, if arm wrestling should get bigger, but I guess yeah, tournament format will still be, I mean, kind of limited, I guess, right? Like I don't know, like I don't know. We all talk about how we want the sport to grow, but we don't really talk about the sport once it's grown. Like where we at? Are we in the Olympics? Are we making money? There are 1,000 people in the fucking on the Saturday at the bar, all wearing like Devil Larry shirts. Like what are we talking about?
Right? I don't think it can be mainstream.
It cannot be.
I don't think so. I mean, it's like you said, it's probably the sport that everybody knows, right? It's been around forever. Everybody's done it, and it's not there yet. It's not even close. It's not even known. It's not, it's so far from anything, and it can't be the crowd. Everybody just can't get in it. It takes a weird person to arm wrestle, right? And to stay in it, especially to stay in it. Look, we've been in it for a long time, and I'm weird as shit. I know that. Like, who puts up with the pain? Who puts up with all the junk just to stay in it? You can't get the public to watch that at any cost. I don't think you could get anybody to give a shit about a reality show of arm wrestlers, right?
See, like, right? See, I didn't. I feel like I think the problem it's always roots within arm wrestlers, right? I feel like if we as an arm wrestlers did something different, guess we have to see like what people do in other sports because I feel like the problem of every sport always roots back to the athletes. So, and I feel like I don't know all the arm wrestlers.
You could compare it to the UFC, right? I mean,
I guess, but like, see, here's the thing. That's why I always argue about the interest. Like UFC is like $100 or some shit. Like I will never pay that to watch a UFC fight because I mean they have a headliner thing that's kind of everybody hyped about, but I'm not watching those fucking pre-matches and shit. So you still have to have some type of interest. And so like I don't that's whenever we talk about like rule change and like how we have to bring the sport, I feel like every sport is as easily understandable or as easily terrible at understanding, right? And I feel like arm wrestling is pretty easy to understand. So I don't feel like that's the issue, right? Like I feel like the format is there. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like if if arm wrestling was UFC, I I feel like it's possible, right? Well, not it's possible. I feel like it's a watchable thing, right? If it just like the names were replaced. But I feel like it's excited to watch arm wrestling and shit, especially if you can kind of like understand it. So yeah, yeah,
do you feel that way
I'm
because you're an arm wrestler, or you feel that way looking at it from the outside? Like you see that other people look at it that way? Because I'm looking at it from
well, I'm
like,
looking from the outside because I mean, look at all the sports. I mean, we all look into all different weird shit, and we
but nobody's
choose.
watching that shit either.
Well, I mean,
They just got sponsor money, so they're on like the pickleball, right, or whatever
sure,
the hell they
whatever.
got.
How do we get pickleball sponsors then? Like that's all we need. If you're not caring about who's watching us, then stop talking about changing the fucking rules and viewability. Fuck, talk about how we get a sponsor then. Then we
Right?
just talk about wrong subjects like fuck viewability, fuck changing the rules, and how it grows in mainstream or not. How do we get a sponsor, baby? How do we get the
That's it.
money?
Yeah, you could follow the normal rules. Everything would be normal if they just had sponsor money and put it on. Right? That's all it takes. You put it in front of everybody, they will watch it then when they think that that's what they're supposed to be
Exactly, that's what
watching.
I'm saying. I
You
feel
know?
like you present arm wrestling, replace it with whatever sports we're watching, people
Hmm.
will watch, right? I don't feel like our sport is necessarily this fucking boring and terrible. I feel like it just seems like a pro- proper sponsor, and then, dude, I don't know. I feel like the athletes should be like. I feel as the proper sponsor and athlete becoming bowlers, maybe then it'll become a thing, right? Because like our top athletes are like our top athlete and the bottom athlete sometimes share the same living conditions, right? Like, and that's kind of doesn't really see in the sports. Once you tap athletes in some like solid sport, like you all of a sudden a star, like you, life is more cushioned. But our, like the arm wrestling is different. Kind of how you said arm wrestling, how I forget who said it, but arm wrestling is a sport where you can go arm wrestle, Muhammad Ali tomorrow at no charge, right?
Right.
So I don't know. It maybe kind of correlates how much of not stars we are, and we maybe should like pretend to be such, right? There at least should be maybe some distance to even talk to fucking our Muhammad Ali's and Mike Tyson, right? Of arm wrestling. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's always a weird subject. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. Like it's been working out for me. I'm doing my thing. I'm doing social media, and every day in the year I do it. There's always new opportunities, always new ways of growing, always something, something, something. So I feel like as long as we doing our part and use an arm wrestler, if you're an average tournament goer, as long as you talk about arm wrestling to everybody, whenever you go to work, whenever you're sitting on an airplane, whenever you're on a boat, car, whatever, talk about arm wrestling, let people know, and maybe we'll get somewhere.
You got your hand in everything, so it's not
Right?
just online, right? You got your own podcast. You're helping everybody else build their YouTube channels. You're on other podcasts. What are you still making? You still making these papers?
I was thinking about making a reorder as soon as they ran out, because I'm terrible at my product. Like, I mean, that was a great thing to do. But man, all the t-shirts I make, I give away half to my friends and I sell like half. And like, man, this is a fucking more tax write-off than the profit making.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll try to make everything, try to do everything, try to deep into every little pocket as usual. So yeah, I'll do like helping out people with arm wrestling stuff whenever they do new things, whatever that is, because like I did done a lot of stuff. Um, I'm not gonna say like I paved some roads, but I did some shit probably that not that many people have done. So yeah, I've seen all the mistakes. So yeah, whenever somebody does something, I'm always there trying to help or build or whatever. And nowadays, as retarded of a skill it appeared to be like the first like 5 years, nowadays like everybody needs somebody to like arm wrestling gig that does social media, because all of a sudden like more people are kind of like want that to happen. I'm like, oh well, shit, fuck, that's I was geeking about this shit 10 years ago. What do you help with? I can help you out. So yeah, I feel like yeah, it's all about timing. And feel like if you're a top arm wrestler and you do something with your life, you think your life should get better every year, at least arm wrestling wise, like or from arm wrestling. Not by much, but a little bit. Shout
Is
out
that
to Eng.
so? Is that what keeps you motivated? If you don't inch up every year, are you going to lose the motivation?
Well, dude, um, no, I do. Well, nowadays I do feel like as what I just said, like all these new opportunities are coming in, and whatever I've been doing just on my own and for myself now became like a job opportunity, right? Like all of a sudden somebody needs like the guy to be in the tournaments, understand photography, social media with videography, whatever. So like all of a sudden my little things that I've been doing every day for groups, for podcasts, for myself, for Travis's, Devon, Stars, right? All of a sudden, like we now have promotion like Core Sports, East vs West, and more people doing the daily pay-per-views, right? Like, we have high fives organizing stuff. We always have guys now making things, and my spot, as I've been part of everything, is actually there's some value behind it and all the information I do possess. So yeah, that kind of it is an extra motivation for sure to be on top of everything, because it's nice to be part of the things and get invited to Illuminati Vita Cell fucking treatments, right? So yeah, that's that thing that does motivate, right? And just look at Devon. Like Devon been doing YouTube before everybody did YouTube, right? And like with different approaches, and it's all snowballed, right? Like back in the days, you probably can't imagine that our wrestling channel will have like 20,000 subscribers, like 50. Now we're talking like people have millions and shit. So yeah, I'm more like for a blind snowball effect, right? My life may not change in a year, but I'm gonna bet you like in a year and a half, fucking shit, some shit happen, right? So like I'm all about as long as I'm able to do this and like my body and life is not really restricting me, like I'm willing to do that, right? And especially right now that my approach have changed. Well, I guess I'm became more not realistic. I became more connected with my approach, right? Because everybody wants to be like number one guy, wants to be the best version of themselves, but they never really want to really do it, right? Because like you always, like this guy said the other day, I'm not gonna pay $40 to get flashed by Travis Bajan. Fair thing to say if you don't want to get flashed and lose your money, but man, it will be cool as hell to collect this loss right now, and then a couple years later have a video of you making a comeback, right? Like, dude, I lost to him 3 years ago, and now I'm here. So now that I kind of got that down, we're like kind of not really even that much down, but like my goals are higher and I actually aim for them. So the whole level skipping is also very motivating for sure.
So just to get back on track for the event, it seems like you plan on winning the whole thing, and you're only a little worried about Merlot. But I feel like you think Craig ends up in the top three. Am I safe to say all those things are correct?
Top three. Top three. Steven Loxton is not making top three. Eduardo Chieta is not making top three. Bob Brown is not making top three. Robbie Russell is not making top three. Dallas is not even there. Eli is not going to make top three. Quinlan Mendes is not going to make top three. That really leaves. So I have to talk about me, Adam, and Craig, and Jason, right? Jason will collect a loss for sure that he is not ready for because he's not going out that much, right? Yeah, yeah. I think it's me, Adam, and Craig, right? And the only thing can go south for Adam is he gets a couple more hookers and gets into the sports and loses. But Flash, Pinley, whatever top, I think you're accurate top three. I feel like stylistically I can be there. Craig is definitely there, and I feel like it's kind of toss up between Adam and Jason too, because as like Jason would have a good opportunity with his style and all that, but as I said, he might collect a loss he doesn't want to collect, and because of the how we all getting paid per like that loss ratio, I feel like there could be a tie between shit. There could be a tie between me and Jason probably for I don't know for the third place of like Adam and Craig is a little stronger. Yeah, you know what? Let's just say the top four will be me, Jason, Craig, and Adam.
And you're only worried about Jason, so you still think you're winning, right? What do you think the Vegas odds are if you were going to bet on Artem to win this whole thing? What are the odds? Because you would be the favorite. Is that what you're saying?
Man, it's a weird to say this because I'm not supposed to be that guy, right? Like I've never even been in a conversation with the Craig and all of those dudes. So I feel like top roll, top roll. Man, yeah, I get fuck. I don't know, man. It's got to be. I feel like me and Craig got to be the favorites, even though Craig is not a top roller, but he does flashes, motherfuckers. But I can see why you will bet for me, and I will not suggest you to do so because I'm not a financial advisor, but I think the odds are pretty good. I think the odds are pretty good. Odds are pretty good.
My biggest concern with you was how focused you would be on the event itself, how beat up you were going into it, because it seems to me that, you know, even though you don't have anything planned, if the opportunity comes up, you'll take it the week before this thing because you'll take it and you won't give a shit. And then do you come in all beat up and pull,
But
you
there's
know?
one important thing that usually doesn't happen to me, and it's that $2,000 number, right? And dude, there's not much money in my bank account. There's money in my bank account, but I want a lot more money in my bank account. So that's why I will be fresh. I will be focused like a motherfucker because the last time I did two workouts on purpose, probably because I forgot I did another one. But now I'm playing it out. I'm probably gonna message. dude, October 7th. October 7th, I have a good training session. Have a good training session October 7th. I got Todd Hutchins coming over. So we're gonna bang there for a little bit and see what's gonna happen. So let's write this 2 weeks out. So camp is good. The camp gonna be good, gonna be relaxed. So all your concerns are actually like perfect. You now we should just have a if that was your concerns, they should not be. Your new concern should be, am I as strong as everybody else in this fucking group?
Okay, well, it brings me to concern two with you would be just the drop itself, the bracket, right? You pull Toulier in the first match, like you said, you want that one fresh. That's good, but that also turns into okay. Let's say you don't flash him, right? And you're in a war. He turned you in, and now you're fighting, and you're in what could be the match of the whole day, right? On the very first match, does that affect your next 10 matches going into it, or does that where the laydown plays into it, where if you hit, you don't get it, you just take the loss? I mean, that could be the loss that, if it's between you guys, that mattered, right? That loses the whole
Correct.
thing.
I feel like stylistically, me and Craig cannot be in a war. Now that I'm thinking about it, right? I hit him, I take his hand, maybe it stops. Preferably, I go down. Not the other way around. I hit him, he gets me inside, he sucks me in. He probably drags me down right away. There's probably not a stop. If there is a side pressure stop, I'm going for the second surge and probably beating him on the second surge. So that's probably like we're talking 8 seconds the most. I feel like if I'm stronger, it's gonna go backwards, maybe in a war. But if it's a top roll versus his hook, I'm okay with sitting there for a second, right? If all of a sudden we turn in, as I'm saying, I feel like we turn in if it's in his ways. I feel like I'm fucked because I feel like that lat drag gonna get me. I don't think Craig really sits in there for too long. He drags, beats a person, and if he doesn't beat him, I feel like I have the perfect opportunity in the second surge, and I don't think it should stop midway just stylistically. So I feel like we find there, I can move to the next one. I think whenever me, I'm not too familiar with Eli, right? But I'm familiar with Adam, and I feel like if me and Adam are a little too close, and it stays inside, I feel like Adam will sit there, and that's the one I will sit there too, and that's the one I probably, man, I might have to drop this one out. But with Craig, I see the concern. I just don't think stylistically is going to work out like this. Like, if it is, it will be awesome. I feel like I am going to sit in a fucking grinder, right? Like, if me and Craig are in there, I'll fucking sit in there 100%.
Gotcha. So it's all going to play. It just depends on how it plays out. You can
Yeah, but
kind of
as I'm
feel.
saying, stylistically, like, top roll with his drag, like, dude, it will be
I was
impressive.
thinking more you catch him like in a, like a Bob Brown type thing where you actually did get his hand, but he's relying on having to go side, so he's going side pressure on you, but you're able to hold him back. So
Right. That's the thing. Like, I have side pressure, like just like this crazy side pressure dudes. So I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's either like I'm really locking him and I'm top rolling him, or I mean, if it does stop there, like I don't think it should stop. That's so much open, and I'm bringing him back just because right hand, just as much side pressure, and I have the tool. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like once it stops in some a certain way, it's going to be a smooth ride for either one of us. I don't know, man. I've seen Craig 2 weeks ago too. Like, motherfucker looks big and strong. So I'm like, oh man, I don't want to shake your hand.
well, those are really my only two concerns. I think the rest of your draw looks pretty good for you as far as warming up and not gassing out specific things, and you're able to go into some of your tougher matches where I think they're going to be beat up a little bit. So
I
I
feel
think
like
you got a good line.
I looked at the list too, and I feel like for me to beat to me, it's for me to win this, it better be like double elimination tournament. If all of this were a double elimination tournament, I feel like I could say like I have to be number one or second, right? Like I may not be number one, but somebody may be a lot stronger than me, but I can climb the B bracket really fucking easy. But we are round robin, so we're pulling everybody. So we're gonna see.
We are. So I would say, yeah, once you get to Merlot, game on for you. You got a few tough matches ahead of you at that point. So
Really, I feel like once I'm done with Craig and Merlot, I don't care, right? Because that's another thing. You have to pick somebody you care about and carry some to here to them. So like, I feel like as you said, I would worry about Robbie, but Robbie is so far. Like I don't care. But once I'm done with Merlot, and if God forbid it's a win for me, like oh that's it, I'll be fucking talking shit. I'll look at Alan Rosinski like, yo, bro, let me comb your hair.
so
Look,
why is Robbie not considered for you? Why do you think that he automatically doesn't make top three?
stylistically, he will not be fast enough to comprehend how to arm wrestle with all these dudes.
What about Eli then? Because Eli is pretty fast.
Eli is fast and strong, but he is not experienced, and he's well, he may be experienced, but my point is that I think his power is questionable. We don't know where he stays, right? I feel like Robbie Russell been beating Eli for a couple times now, right? I don't feel like Eli have beat Robbie.
I'm not sure. I think Robbie did win, and they pulled maybe Kentucky or something like that.
They pulled and Robbie beat him, so like so it's just, Eli's power is not short for all of us, right? Just because he really, I mean, half of us I don't really even think know Eli, right? With all due respect to him, but considering that he's in the Robert Russell realm, right, and this the hooker style, he's not in the top three now.
And I don't know who we don't know who's replacing Dallas. So yeah, I mean I like it, man. I like your chances. If you're focused and you're coming in solid and you're stem celled to the max, I like your chances.
I mean, we can talk about pretty easy, right? Steven loses to probably a majority of the people. If
I think
Eduardo still
Steven causes some problems though.
he causes problems, but he loses to the stronger dudes for sure. But he does causes problems to everybody, right? But not gonna be have enough ass to like really be there. Eduardo gonna get caught in the two hook wars and he's out. Um, Jason is the one we question right in the top three, same as Craig. Um, Chad's out, replaces Casey. Casey will be good and strong, so he'll get a couple of wins, but I don't, just considering he's not like our active dangerous person we always talk about, I have to assume he's not gonna be in the top three. Bob, Bob needs
Bob's gonna cause problems too.
Bob needs more retired people that not gonna just flash him, and because of that, he will collect those flash pin losses, which will drop him out further from the top three. Which he can recollect himself further on, the more he actually can beat other people, right? Plus, it's one way to talk about this. We have to consider like Bob has been beating people tournament wise and super match wise, so he doesn't necessarily need you to be that tired, but he has power. So, but I feel like if you're stronger than him, you can kind of bypass all the bullshit with the King's move. Robbie, Robbie gonna get flashed by the flashers, and eventually he's gonna have to get tired too. I think Quinlan again, not gonna have enough power to think for Adam, Robbie, or me or Craig, right? So that kind of just knocks him out of there too. Adam, Adam is a nasty one. Adam can get flash pinned, but there really anybody who can flash pin him in the proper style. It's me or Jason, right? Craig kind of gonna fall a little bit on the inside, so he's in a pretty safe spot. And yeah, and like looking at the thing, I would back to Eli and said what I said about Eli. I feel like he power going to be questionable, and like, but fuck, who knows? He may be pretty high. I think Eli's not going to be the worst one out here for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's the amount of styles that and how they match up is really gonna cause a factor. But I do like your chances. I think it's really hard to call a top three in this. Um, Top five, top six, making money. I think you can kind of call probably.
I like what because I feel like my top three is pretty accurate. It's got to be Adam, Craig, me, and Jason. That's your top four. And I feel like maybe Jason and Eli will maybe even fight for that four.
See,
Who
now you're
knows?
to five. See how hard it is to call three?
I don't know. Did I said Craig, Jason, Adam, and Eli, right?
Yeah, you,
And
you mentioned your top three, but you said four, and then you added one. So
no, no. So I guess Jason, Eli will fight for that. I guess 3, 4, right? Yeah. Oh no, you're right. You're right. With all of us, it is five. Ah, dumbass. So yeah, Jason and Eli fighting for that 4 or 5, I believe. Maybe. Well, if I'm beating Jason, right? Because I'm playing in that. If I'm not, then well,
yeah,
yeah. Well, no.
but you just said Robbie beats Eli, so you don't put Robbie up there, but you got Eli in there. Confuses
Oh
shit
yeah, yeah,
more,
for
right?
sure. Yeah. Oh man,
It's
poor
tough.
Eli. I guess you're right. Eli is not making. Well, I agree with you, Bill. Eli is not fucking making top 5. Sorry, Eli.
I mean, what if it does it come down to the guy that gets the underdog win? You know, like who like does Toulier lose to Eli in that, and that changes the whole dynamic, or does Toulier lose to? I mean, Robbie's got to win on Toulier, right? What if Robbie is the one to beat Toulier, and that completely changes the dynamic,
That might happen. That might
right?
happen.
Adam gets flashed by Steven Logsden or something, right, and throws a wrench into things. Then what?
Well, if that happens, then it's just better for me because I'm not geeking at this stupid ass shit. All I'm going to be looking at, all right, -1, baby, -1.
No, Steven Logsden's not flashing you.
No, no, no. I have too much
Eli's
power.
not blowing you over in a hook, smashing you to the pad.
He might, but I don't think he. I don't think. I don't know if he dealt with like professional top rules like myself. So you know,
Adam's not going to stonewall you.
Adam is not stonewalling. No, 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 no. It's really going to be a good question if my top rule will match his hand because I don't. You don't really see it when always happen to Adam. So I feel like that match like it's like it needs to happen.
Did you pull him when you on the side table, both left and right?
I have. I have.
Is it a noticeable difference? I've heard his right hand's about twice as big as his
Every
left.
time it is noticeably different. It's just every time I've beaten, every time I pull with Adam on side pulls, it's always been after he been crushed entire by everybody else. So I'm never like really access to his power, but hand wise size difference, yeah, they're different. Because I got to pull him in the tournament left handed, but just not right handed. But
Oh,
they're different. They're different.
gotcha. Well, I think we got that cleared up, man. I guess other than that, what do you got? Monster Factory 5 following that? That's December, you said?
Massive Factory 5.
I mean, that's
Holy
a big match, Paul Lynn,
man.
right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. It's such a. I feel like I like this match because it's Paul's shitty arm, and I'm gonna beat the hell out of him. But it's still a name. People are gonna be confused that it's not the right arm. So people, man, you beat Paul Lynn, man. You wanna pull so and so right handed? Sure, man, go ahead. I feel like it's gonna give me a bunch of shit once they beat Paul. It is a good match. As much I am gonna expose Paul because he's always Paul is the nicest guy in our wrestling. But the more you follow, like the way he talks about this match, it's very diminishing to me and Michael, right? He's all left-handed match, my peg hand, it's a football season, I'm not training. And I'm like, motherfucker, why would you ever agree to this if you want to be so diminishing about this shit and belittle like everything's happening? So I'm gonna make sure I'll call Paul out of that as I beat him. But I just wish people more understand that like Paul's left is not that bad either. Like if he does beat me, it's really good for Paul, I believe. But if I do beat him, it's okay for me too.
Is there a weight cap? 200?
There's no weight cat.
No weight
No.
cap. You
There,
know what he's
you know
coming in
what?
at?
There's probably 260 pounds, but I think like there was a question of
He's about 220, right?
he's like, yeah, he's a 220 guy, I believe. Maybe cuts to what 209 for East versus West, or like in 200. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Um, Michael Todd assumed it's going to be 220 pound match, but me and Bob also were talking about pulling there too. But Bob wants to wait a little bit until like
Yeah, because he wants to see what happens at this round robin. to see what plays
Right,
out.
but if that happens, then Bob probably gonna cap me at 98. Which I don't mind pulling pole at 98 myself. It just
That's what you walk around at. Like if you're at 206 right now and you're heavy, 98 is that it? Come on, man. What do you
right,
got?
I
A
just
not eat pizza one night? Is that it? Like the night
that,
before?
that's mentally hard for the one day,
It's
dog.
one night. Skip. You could cut that. Now, 98 is not hard for you to make. Come on now.
It's not. It just it will be a lot cooler if both of us don't care and we both showed up fucking 220, 210,
You
right?
need
Because
to just say that you're not training left either. Be like, all right, since Paul is not training and he's not taking this seriously, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do anything whatsoever on my left, and I'm just going to sit here and do everything right handed and play that game and just do what you normally do. But play the
hey,
game
that's not
media wise, right? That you're not doing nothing. Like he wants to do nothing, then we'll see. I'm going to come in there. Absolutely, I've done nothing left handed whatsoever. And overplay it
I
on your
like it.
side, right?
I might do that, but the whole weight thing is just the time span is so nice. Like if I October 21st now, then I have like months and a half till poll. That's pretty clear, right? Like November 4th, we have a tournament in Virginia, but that's also kind of it's like what 2 weeks after the October. So um so it's gonna be long enough time for me to go back up and I can stay around like 210 and make go bulk up for this fucking stupid 220 and be just as big as Paul.
How big can you get?
I don't know because I've never
How
it's
big
been like
have you gotten? How about that?
210. I've touched
210.
210 earlier this year, and then like I mean, and now I'm stable. I can work around like 206. If I eat plenty that day, I'll step on the scale by the night 209, and that's not like a heavy bulking day, right? So I don't know. I feel like nowadays, you give me a new time span where I don't have to restrict myself. I may can get up to 215 a little bit, right? Maybe touch 220, right? But I'm also not a big juicer. You know what I mean? Like I'm to everybody I talk to, they're like, huh? You don't do none of this shit? Like, man, you're fucking crazy. So I feel like if I wanted to up a double notch and be like in your average American arm wrestler, a little bit easier. But I'm like playing the safer route. So like, I am enhanced, but I'm also
So
like Dr.
you
Losman.
have you competed at 209? Where you're walking in, you didn't cut anything? Or are you always cutting down and competing at 200?
No, no, no. I never cut weight. No, no, no. I just come in when I come in. I mean, I've cut weight before, but past I don't know, like three years.
So when
I
you're
just
bulking up, I guess what I'm getting at is if you're bulking when you're bulking up, do you notice a difference in your any kind of your stamina or anything like that on the table
nowadays, if I'm a
or
little heavy,
speed too?
no, everything as long as I'm keep trading, everything is good, right? And like the speed ones are like the speed is a weird one. Sometimes I just have it, sometimes I don't. But it depends, I guess, on the tournament how much I really slept the night before. But no, I'm a little bit stronger overall, like in general. I feel like it's easier for me to hold on onto the guys that will normally beat at practice. They become a little bit easier, but it's not. I don't get this significant difference like a lot of people do, right? There are some people that like to go from like couch potato to like training and like securing everything and getting those extra 10 pounds into a whole new fucking person, right? Like, not me. I'm not, I'm like, I'm a player, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like shit until from now until October 20th, right? And the 21st, when I can, you know, there's a referee, there's a ready ghost, then, well, kind of shine, right? Like, just my being, I'm a beat up and weak human being.
So weight's not a problem then.
No, no, no. I just, I just feel like I enjoyed being heavier and getting heavier, but no, like not like I feel too much, too much significant difference. No, I mean, I'm in okay shape. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably in a better shape right now than I was in 165. You know what I mean? Like I have
Yeah, but I
abs.
feel like 220 is heavy for you. I think you at like 206 even is probably that's your frame is solid. But at 220, if you're going to try to be 220 for Paul Lynn, are you going to have that same explosion that you
Yeah,
have at 200?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think like I feel like at this point if I were to go fucking crazy on all the juice, I can be like really sloppy and terrible 225, probably 230 of like flopping. What are you just saying? Like looking like absolutely like nothing. But I feel like 220. If I can, dude, I don't know. Talking about it kind of sounds a little surreal, but like I would like to see 215. I would like to see 215, and I feel like nothing will change. I'm
Hmm.
just getting I'm just getting nastier with the weight though, because like with my style, the more weight I have to carry in this, the better.
So if you take like sixth place in this round robin, are you going to start talking about making 172
No,
instead?
not at all. Not at
That won't
all. Not,
change. That won't change the trajectory.
not at all. I'm a 200-pound guy, and I'm a 210-pound guy if I can try to be. And if there's money on the line, I'm 187 guy, right? That's who I am right now. Like I'm definitely 187 guy all day long if there's something to happen, right? That's me. Well, for right now, just doing some sloppy shit, I'm 200 pounds, 210, whatever. But if you're talking about competitively where you should put me if I were to go to Worlds, 187. If there's money on the line, right? Technically going to Worlds, I should be pulling whatever I pull, but fat money, king of the table, East versus West, like invites those sound viable to become 187.
Do you have any do you have any desire at all to do worlds? Because you don't seem like that's your thing.
I would love to do WAF. I would love to do WAF Worlds because, man, it's a fucking difference whenever you get to the WAF title. People over there look at you a little different. Like, people, oh, you won Worlds. Oh, you won WAF. Oh, you won, like, dude. The conversation once you become part of WAF family, even how corrupt is she, everything else, like, being part of WAF and securing that title, being there, like, it does a lot of things to you. And I kind of wanted to do that early on in my career, but didn't have the opportunity financially at first and whatever. And kind of right now, I feel like I can, but I feel like our American system is a little funny. Like, I don't even know who hosts this WF Nationals, right? Like where they are, how they are. That's one thing, right? That's something I would like to pursue that, but now that I don't think I can because I'm so openly pancaked up. So it causes this weird dilemma. Is like kind of what Michael Todd did at IFA, like to where like, dude, kind of know that you enhance and you kind of openly enhanced about it. And so going into somebody that for you know that's tested, right? That's kind of just a bad taste. So like if I were to go to Worlds, if like I have to pretend to be natty for like a year, stop posting all these juice pictures of my fucking stories and shit, and then go, right? It's not like everybody's there just as enhanced, right? But like you're keeping it politically clean, right?
Right.
So maybe if WL comes around and I'm in the contract and WL is going to be seem like it's coming back as a tested league, that's where maybe going to give an upper hand to where like shit, I'll get tested. It test going to be clean, and they're like there'll be less questions to go to WAF and try to because I would like to try to compete, and I feel like nowadays I have an okay chance because of how many dudes I have not gripped top with, who's the top of the WF bracket. I feel like I can be there. It just yeah, from moral standpoint, somebody pointed it out like, dude, you fucking you know you're talking about the shit all the time. You can't really go there. I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna be politically correct. Get tested before I even walk in the building. So if I just need to clean up my Facebook appearance and Instagram, and then I'll go. But yeah, that's something I would like to do. WAF Worlds for sure.
So does that stop you from doing? That's what would keep you from doing like IFA. I would assume is to keep that
Well,
door
IFA,
open.
well, IFA is just weak. IFA weak. You like if you support IFA to me, like you're a weirdo, right? Like IFA died in every single country except for United fucking States, and because some weirdos want to still support this weird line. Like at first it was interesting to have an alternative, but now it's just like it just weird, weak. I don't know. Like I feel like we should go back to corrupted WF. They've been stealing money from each other from forever. Don't know why, who, and what, but doesn't really affect you. You're still paying all the entry fees. You're still traveling there. So yeah, I don't know.
So it's not the issue of the banning that would keep you away. It was more just the talent level.
This will be an issue too. On top of that too, because you don't want to get caught in that weak IFA stuff just to get a ban, right? Because WF's still stable and they still rule. Like King of the Table and East versus West, even though they want to be independent, like commercial pay-per-view thing, like the referees, everything, like there is a lot of WF control. So yeah, if you want to talk about bans, yeah, you don't really want to get attached to FA too. So from that perspective too, my just perspective is just like it just weak, right? Like yeah, once it becomes maybe a little bit better, yeah, but like dude, all the normal countries done dropped it, right? Like you don't want to support this. So and we're still there, people getting the cute world titles, then get beat by fucking on the Florida State Championship shit, right? Like it's all good. Eli about to fucking take second place at Worlds and fucking come back here and take ninth place in the round robin. Isn't that some crazy shit?
Ninth place, huh? We'll see.
Hey, you're gonna take second at IFA, dog.
You going to be on an East-West card coming up? King of the Table, one of those?
Not in discussions yet, but I'm assuming East versus West 11th or 12th. I should be on 11th for sure. Haven't it's I'm just saying it's for you, really. It hasn't been a discussion. Just assuming how much I pushed my match away because I gonna want to pull at 8. I gonna want to pull at 9. And 10, I'm happily gonna get scheduled on the 10, which is all good. So I feel like 11, kind of everything had to line up to where I can finally come, and I feel like Engen just knows that I need that match given, and he always he mentions it a bunch of times. So like I know he's thinking about it. So if I have to predict, it might not happen, but I'm just kind of assuming with all the timing and me pushing it and kind of Engen trying to make it happen. I feel like the 11 will be it, and or 12. I don't know. It just the weight class is funny for me. They over consider my left arm out there, so it's like a lot of weird offers, a lot of weird classes. So we're gonna find out.
So that match with Paul Lynn could have some effect on that. Does that help you out with the win? Right? I mean, he's got a name over there.
That's what I said earlier. Yeah, for sure. People are gonna confuse that it's not the left and right arm. It's just gonna be Paul Lynn.
Right.
Right. Especially dudes overseas. I feel like I heard he just did some good shit out there in the afterpool too, left-handed.
Oh, he's good both hands.
Right, but I feel like he also just did some shit like actually on a video. I haven't seen it, but I've heard like he been doing some shit left-handed on the afterpool East versus West video. So if he did do that, I mean that it might make me look better regardless.
Well, I don't want to see any videos of you doing anything left-handed from now until that match because you're sitting that one on the shelf, right?
My left arm.
Got to do nothing.
Yep. Every picture you're gonna see me until now, from there will be like this.
That's it. That's it. The peg holding hand.
Can't do nothing. I'll do me. For, until in the next podcast, if it's Politala and Travis Bacon later on.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, man, I could talk to you all night, so I don't want to keep you. I know you got shit to do. You're a busy man. So I appreciate you sitting here talking with me about these matches and this event coming up and everything in between. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you, Billy. I know we can fucking talk here for another 2 hours probably, but yeah, we should be cool, but I do have to eat, and we do have like 3 podcast schedules today. So for everybody that's still watching, we do have, what do we have? Are we live? Or are we just recording anyway?
Yeah, live.
Not live. Crazy. Yeah, so 8:45, Travis Bajan and Travis's channel, and 9:30, The Buzz with Politali on Politali's channel. So, podcasting
Artem all night tonight.
Well, we got it really was about Travis, but Travis like, yo, you should come into Poland. We should roll into the 2. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So usually our podcast is like 2 to 1. But we're gonna do it in an hour and then roll it to Paulie's podcast. So we're gonna bring out people. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you making time for me, man. We should do it again sometime.
We'll rock it next Wednesday, son. We'll do it.
Toprollking.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, for having me. I hope I fulfill all your dreams on the 21st.
All right. Good luck, man. Train safe.
Thank you.